Welcome to our today's webcast, The Marine Wonders of the Dominican Republic. We are very happy to present you not only the great opportunities in terms of eco and adventure tourism in the Dominican Republic, one of the most visited holiday destinations worldwide, but also share with you some examples how the Dominican Republic is actively taking steps to protect its natural and particularly marine treasures. First, Mrs. Petra Cruz, Director Euorpe of the Dominican Republic Tourist Board, will provide an introduction on the Ecotourism Office and current initiatives, followed by Mrs. Marion Hammerl, President of Global Nature Fund, who just concluded a major sustainable project focusing on the reef protection. Last but not least, our 2020 Whale Whisperer, Tim Philippus, will share his experiences and insights from his just completed stay in Samaná, where he actively supported local providers being engaged in nature and animal protection. My name is Sabrina Lütke, and I am the PR Director of the Dominican Republic Tourist Board here in Germany, serving as your webcast organizer today. Let's start with a short getaway to the Dominican Republic before we hand over to Mrs. Petra Cruz.
Dominikanische Republik. Alles, wovon Sie träumen.
There you go. Wonderful. That's the Dominican Republic. Yes, with a diverse topography and varying climates, the Dominican Republic creates the perfect environment for over 6,000 species of thriving flora and fauna, including a high number of endemic species. It means it would be found in the Dominican Republic. Every January until March, thousands of humpback whales migrate to the warm waters of the peninsula of Samaná, the Samaná Bay, something you will learn much more about a little bit later with Tim, who was there visiting our humpback whales as the whale whisperer. Next slide. 25% of land consisting of protected areas. Landscapes vary from lush valleys and from rain to cloud or pine forests, rivers and waterfalls, offshore keys and cays. The Dominican Republic is home to 29 national parks and protected areas all around the country. The Ministry of Environment is actively engaged to operate and preserve all national parks, of course, together with our Ministry of Tourism, because our natural resources are for us really of great importance. And not only now, but that's been ever since we declared the Dominican Republic as a tourism destination back in the 80s. Making them available for tourists to explore the Dominican Republic beyond the beach for hiking, bird watching, or flora expeditions. The largest of all national parks is the National Park Jaragua. It's a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve and includes beach, of course, lagoons, dry forests, and keys. The most visited parks in the country is Los Aitis National Park, which is located on the northeast coast of the Dominican Republic in the Samaná Bay. Yes, next slide. Near Jarabacoa and Constanza, in the mountainous center of the country, the twin Jose Armando Bermudez, National Park and Jose del Carmen Ramirez National Park, there are two parks, are home to the majestic roof of the Caribbean with the highest peak, about 3,975 meters high. That's the Pico Duarte. It's the highest peak of the whole Caribbean, ideal for climbing and mountain biking. You need 3 days to go to visit this peak. I mean, 2 days to go up and 1 day to go down, but that's an amazing experience that I would really highly recommend for the people that love the nature and enjoy beautiful views from the top of a high mountain. Tucked in the Dominican Republic's fertile hills are vast agricultural plantations that can be toured, for instance, in Puerto Plata, where women run cacao plantations, run full-day tours into the world of chocolate. Chocolate is, in the Dominican Republic, one of the major products of exports and has won also several prizes. Our bio cocoa. Is one of the main export goods, and as I said, have won many prizes. And yes, also we have more than 600 kilometers of beaches. Let's see the beaches. Pristine beaches with white, sandy, and of course, beautiful palm trees. That is one of the most beautiful things that our beaches feature, because they are not only white and have the white sand, but also they have lush palm trees and crystal clear water. And we have 19 national blue flags in our beaches. That means that the water is very clean, and they have been awarded with these 19 blue flags. The Dominican Republic has also many rivers, as you can see. The most significant one is the Yaque del Norte. Visitors go rafting down the rapids from this river, from the town of Jarabacoa. And you can also go canyoning, also in this one region. And it's really exciting for people wanting this type of adventure tourism. So the next one. Throughout the country, you will find impressive waterfalls. The waterfall is coming, there you go. The most visited ones are the 27 waterfalls from Damajagua. They are called in Spanish 27 Charcos de Damajagua. They are in the province of Puerto Plata. That's really an amazing trip and very ecological trip, and I really recommend it. You don't need to do all 27 waterfalls. You can do just 6 or 7, but if you are in a good condition, you are very fit, you can do all 27, and it's an accelerating tour. Also, the Limon waterfall in Samaná ranks among the most impressive in the Dominican Republic, rising at 30 meters, like about 100 feet, and reach after an intense hike or horseback ride through subtropical forest. As you see here, lakes and lagoons, that is National Park Los Aitis, and yeah, really nice nature, subtropical forest. There are intriguing lakes in the Dominican Republic. The most unexpected is Lago Enriquillo, with a mix of fresh and salty water. It sits 30 meters, it's around 138 feet below sea level, and is home to multiple bird species as well as American crocodiles. But also the Laguna Grigri on the north coast has a dense mangrove tunnels while hundreds of black turkey vultures go around. I mean, it's very impressive, and that is between Samaná and Puerto Plata. So you can do like a kind of ecotourism trail over there in this area. Yeah, as we said before, you have numerous caves, some only accessible through water. The country's first inhabitants of the Dominican Republic were the Taínos. They left behind numerous traces and signs of their presence in these caves. So you can see these Taíno hieroglyphs, which are very interesting. The province of Atomayor is home to the rock Cueva Fonfun, or Fan Fan, because it's a lot of fun to visit them. It's tucked deep in the rainforest. Also near Santo Domingo and La Romana, two of the Dominican Republic's most beautiful caves are easily accessed via footbridges. It's the Tres Ojos National Park, the Three Eyes, we call them, National Park near Santo Domingo, with its iridescent blue lagoons, and also Cuevas de las Maravillas, an 800 meters, about 2,600 feet cave system that is very well organized, and you have signs all over, so you can really explore these caves on your own. The next slide, the offshore islands. This is like a postcard perfect offshore island, lie off the coast of the Dominican Republic. Exactly, this one is Cayo Levantado, known as, you know, the island for the Bacardi advertising. And you find the most stunning of these, like the Saona Island or Catalina Island, and of course the Paradise Island, Cayo Arena, which is a tiny key that resembles like a sandbank. Actually, it's a sandbank located off the shore of Puerto Plata in Punta Rusia. That's like halfway between Puerto Plata and Monte Cristi. Here you can explore colorful fish and corals, so it's really good for snorkeling, for the ones that love snorkeling. And speaking about snorkeling, my next slide. A big part of our marine world is already protected as a national park. It reveals features such as coral reefs, caves, remains of galleons, shipwrecks, and a world of multicolored marine life. A 40-meter is around 131 foot wall dives of the islands of Catalina and Saona. You may sport turtles and eagle rays of the remote Playa Frontón in Las Galeras, or snorkel amid colorful fish at Cayo Arena. Whether south, east, or north, PADI certified dive and snorkel shops know the best wonderwater adventures in our country. Year-round, the sea temperatures range between 24 degrees to 29 degrees. That's about 75 and 84 Fahrenheit. So it's like you can really enjoy our nature all year long in the Dominican Republic. To prepare, yeah, oh wow, what a wonderful picture. So you can see all of these happy fish and Caribbean corals. It's really amazing. I'm a diver myself, and we have also very nice dive spots in the Dominican Republic. You can ask for a map of it. We can send it to you for free from our tourist board. So to preserve this natural beauty, the government of the Dominican Republic is actively taking steps to create awareness amongst Dominican people and, of course, visitors, how tourism can help to maintain or even enhance the rich ecological diversity of the country. Especially the coastal areas are in focus, as 80% of the population of the Dominican Republic lives there, and they are the hotspots for visitors as well. The government of the Dominican Republic supports various public and private sector projects to develop environmentally friendly and resources saving coastal tourism. So, yeah, very important. Last summer, the roadmap for low carbon and resource efficient accommodation in the Dominican Republic was adopted. The project was developed in cooperation with the German Federal Ministry for the Environment, the UN Environment Program, UNEP, the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, and the Ministry of Tourism of the Dominican Republic. In order to make the tourism sector more sustainable, a plan was developed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, I mean like 25%, halve the amount of food waste in the hotel industry, reduce the consumption of non-renewable energy use, complete elimination of single-use plastics. Very important, we are adopting this in all hotels, set up a new sustainability certificate for the hotel industry. Those are some of the targets that we have set to 2030 to reach until 2030. The three pillars of the roadmap are, as you can see in the slide, beat marine and land-based pollution and reduce the consumption of materials and waste arising from tourism, especially the ban of single-use plastic is top priority for us at the moment. Already now about 60% of Dominican hotels have already replaced one-way drinking cups with a reusable system. And also very important is to build up a sustainable gastronomy by measuring and reducing food waste in hotels, training chefs and hotel managers on the topics of food sustainability, encouraging the adoption of sustainable procurement practices when buying food and sustainable dining. The next pillar, the third one and last one, aims to increase energy efficiency and the use of renewable energy in hotels. This includes government policies to support and incentive the use of energy efficient equipment and products, the establishment of standards and certification schemes. The Dominican Republic already houses the largest solar park in the Caribbean. That's not many people know that, but that is located in the Monte Plata area. This has been designed to serve more than 50,000 households. Also, the private tourism sector is taking initiative to help us with the whole issue. The newest one was just presented by the TUI Care Foundation in January 2020, I mean like 2 months ago. Jointly with the Reef World Foundation, they launched an initiative to help protect coral reefs in the Dominican Republic. That's really a wonderful project that we as Ministry of Tourism endorse. The partnership will encourage environmental stewardship by bringing together key members of the community to focus on the protection of these sensitive and fundamental ecosystems that we have in our country. Over 300 people from a variety of local reef-based businesses will receive specialized training on how to work more sustainable. More than 65,000 tourists will receive information on coral reef protection, and over 2,000 members of the community will also learn about reef protection through the environmental activities of youth ambassadors. More than 65,000 tourists, I said before, will receive this information on how to protect the coral reefs. So in order to contribute to this cause, which is very important for all of us. That's about another initiative aiming to conserve the marine and coastal biodiversity, and in particular the fragile reefs, fragile reefs, through more than sustainable tourism is just completed. I am very happy to welcome now Mrs. Marion Hammerl, President of Global Nature Fund, one of the initiators who will give you more insight in this very important project on how to conserve the marine and coastal biodiversity, and in particular the fragile reefs through more sustainable tourism in our country. Welcome, Marion.
I thank you very much, Petra. I was looking at the beautiful pictures, and I can confirm that the Dominican Republic is a beautiful island and full of nature and treasures and so on. And now I need to ask, can you go ahead with my slides, or will I do it to the presentation?
Of course, I will.
Okay, perfect. Then we can maybe go to the next one. But as in all the other countries around the world, as in all regions on our planet, we have immense decline of biodiversity, and the experts are telling that besides climate change, the loss of biodiversity is the biggest challenge which the humanity is facing, because biodiversity means the variety of species, or genetic variety, but also the variety of ecosystems. And all these ecosystems, which Petra showed us in the beautiful pictures, are providing a lot of services to us humans, but of course also to the species which are living together with us on our planet. And if the ecosystems are degraded or disappearing, then also the services are disappearing. And services means that they are providing, for example, water, they are providing clean air, they are providing a microclimate, which is becoming more and more important in times of climate change and impacts of climate change. And they are providing fertile soil that we can have alimentation, and so on and so on. So in our project, which we just finalized, and we did together with the German Development Agency, GIZ, we were concentrating on tourism sector and the conservation of marine and coastal biodiversity, because also our economic activities, agriculture, infrastructures, but also tourism can damage, can have a negative impact on biodiversity if it is not well planned and if it is not well executed. So our focus in this project was and is the tourism industry, which is so important in the Dominican Republic. We were also working in a little bit in Haiti, and I need to say that it was very, very difficult to work in this country, and we did not achieve all our objectives. And we were working in Honduras, and there was a very lively exchange with Honduras, especially on coral reef protection and protection of mangroves. And today Dominican Republic and Honduras and some other countries form an initiative to protect the Grand Coral Reef Mesoamerica, and this is one first and good result of the project. The next, please. I think, yeah. So we had several, or we were following several lines in the project, and one very important is to sensitize the tourism sector that they should not be part of the problem, means loss of biodiversity. They should do all efforts to protect biodiversity, and this includes also really the key issues of the tourism sector, all the services which they are offering, and the supply chain which is related to the tourism sector. And we were working on regional level, because if one single hotel is sensitized and doing positive things, but the neighbors around not, then this hotel will not achieve a big positive impact. So it is important to look at biodiversity on a regional level, on a destination level, and this we did with roundtables and the elaboration of action plans. We developed a financial instrument together with our partner, especially Fundación Punta Cana, to involve the tourism sector, and especially the big resorts also into the financing of the protection of coral reefs and mangroves, and this is also developing well. We had a look to the products of the tourism sector and how to make the products more biodiversity friendly, and to support hotels and companies which are offering activities to the tourists, how to develop and design a product more biodiversity friendly. Yeah, and finally we did a lot of dissemination. We were active in many events and organized a lot of workshops, not only in the two countries, but also in other countries, in order to motivate to learn from each other. The next slide, please. So I will present some of our results, and I would like to underline that this is one important step, but only one step in the right direction. And I was very happy to listen to Petra that there are new projects on in improving the environmental quality of the tourism sector in Dominican Republic, because this is requires still a lot of efforts, and it is absolutely necessary to follow on, and we will do the same with our activities. So we were concentrated on the coral reefs, and in order to restore coral reefs, you need corals, seedlings of corals, and we created 16 coral gardens where the corals are grown, and later on they are transferred to coral reefs in order to restore them. And we We're also looking which of the coral species are more resilient against climate change, because climate change, besides contamination, is one of the big drivers of the destruction of coral reefs. And so we need to find species which are resisting the higher temperatures and higher sun application. And this is still research which is ongoing, because nobody up to now has really the final solution. And as climate change is a very dynamic process, we need to adapt our strategies and add always new findings. And in order to monitor the development of the restored coral reefs, we are working with divers, and we especially with the divers instructors, because there are many offers now to look at the coral reefs and to contribute to the protection, but we want to take care that this is well done and not contributing to the problems of the coral reefs. And so we need very well instructors, very well instructed instructors, that they can really provide their knowledge to the groups. The next one. This is some impressions. So we can go to the next one. Another ecosystem which is very, very much under pressure, and also in many places degraded, unfortunately also in the Dominican Republic, are the mangrove forests. And these mangrove forests are so important also for the people which are living in the coastal areas, because the mangroves as well as the coral reefs are natural barriers against the extreme weather conditions which are increasing all over the world. They are able to reduce the impact of tsunamis, of storms, and other extreme weathers. And at the same time, there are the kindergartens, for example, for many fish species, which are growing there, the young fish. And we trained fishermen to be involved in mangrove conservation, and mangroves are also a very attractive focus for projects, for offers, tourism offers, and because you can observe a lot of wildlife, especially birds in the mangroves, and fish species and amphibians, etc. But of course, the fishermen should take care that these excursions are well designed and on a very high environmental quality level, so that they do not provide any harm. We contributed to whale watching activities in Samaná, and with this app, which is now existing, the whale watchers can contribute to the identification of the whales. You know that every whale has a different tail, and with the identification of whales via app, you can contribute to the monitoring of the whales. And Monitoring was also, or is an issue with the marine turtles, which is a very, very endangered species. And we need to do all the efforts to increase the populations, because if not, this is one of the species where the experts say that it can get lost in the next 25 years, which we are, if we are not intensifying our efforts. The next one. The next slide, please. Yeah. So again, some impressions, and now we come to a little bit more to the technical part, which is the supply chain of the tourism sector. And as I told, if tourism is not well planned and not carefully implemented, tourism contributes to the loss of biodiversity, because it contributes to the destruction of ecosystems, and it harms also the many species. So we wanted to contribute with our project that tourism is well planned, and therefore we developed a biodiversity check, which was implemented by 55 companies of the tourism sector. And within this biodiversity check, we were analyzing together with the managers what is their relation to biodiversity, where they have impacts on biodiversity, and of course what could be measures to reduce these impacts. And we did not all this by our own. I did a lot of seminars in Dominican Republic, but we trained also many consultants and managers of tourism resource, that they can go ahead with this support. And this is an activity which is still ongoing, and if there are hotels or restaurants or companies which are offering recreational activities, if they are interested in to do a biodiversity check, we can help and support them. And we had a look, as I told, to the tourism products, and together with local organizations, we redesigned, or we developed sustainable tourism products focusing on biodiversity, and we are also helping to promote them, because the best and the most environmental friendly tourism product is not successful if there are not tourists interested in experiencing it. And therefore we need also always to look to the demand and to the markets, and therefore Germany and other countries are very important, because German tourists should ask for this environmental friendly products, tourism offers, whale watching offers, etc., and support them. The next one. This we had. The next one. Yeah, this is an image as Petra told, and I'm very happy to listen that there is a follow-up work on waste, because waste is a big problem in the Dominican Republic, not only, but also, and there need to be done more efforts to reduce waste and to recycle waste. The next one. Yeah, and this is more or less my one of my last slides. As I told, when we are working on biodiversity, you need to involve the region, because one actor cannot achieve much. And we made a lot of round tables, and the aim of the round tables was to elaborate biodiversity action plans. And now we are doing follow-up to see if the biodiversity action plans with the measures are also being implemented. And this is our work for this year. The next slide. And financial instruments are so important because not only the governments, the environmental ministries, etc., are responsible for protecting and restoring, also the tourism sector by itself, because natural capital like these beautiful beaches, etc., are the main attractive for the tourism sector. So we are motivating companies to contribute also financially in the protection and restoration of coral reefs, of mangroves, etc. And down you see that 22 companies so far invested in a fund which was created, and we hope that it will be much more in the future. The next one. Yeah, and dissemination, and this is also an important task, and I hope if the responsible actors like the tourism sector, like administration, like NGOs and civil society are telling we want to learn from each other, that they take it seriously, because we have all the information, we have the technical knowledge, we have all the solutions on the table, and it just need to be implemented, and nobody needs to reinvent the wheel again. So we contributed to the dissemination of knowledge, of experience, and so on, and we hope that it will be noticed and taken into account. The next one. This was is my last slide, and yeah, a last word on that. It was just the beginning of the efforts which need to be done, or which still need to be done. And as environmental organizations, we are of course very much willing to contribute further to protect biodiversity in the Dominican Republic, but we cannot do it by our own. We need to, especially we need the tourism sector as a supporter and as an active supporter, and therefore please participate, because biodiversity is so beautiful and so much needed by us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hammerl. And now we turn over to Tim, our whale whisperer.
Okay, thank you so much, Marion, for your words and for your insights on this very important topic. So welcome to our next and the last section of our presentation. My name is Tim Philippus. I'm a freelancer in online marketing and photography, but most importantly, I am the Whale Whisperer 2020, which means I got to spend the whole month of February in the beautiful country of the Dominican Republic. And right now I will be trying my best to give you the best insights that I can to tell you about the experience that I made and also the knowledge that I gained during my time.
Sorry to interrupt, Tim. Could you activate your webcam, please?
Okay. All right, can you see me now? Does it work?
Perfect,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, perfect. So once again, my name is Tim Philippus, and I got to be the Whale Whisperer 2020. So I got to spend the whole month of February in the Dominican Republic, helping out over there. And in this part of the presentation, I'm trying to give you the best insights on the experiences that I made in the Dominican Republic, and also the knowledge that I gained helping out the SEPS organization and the whale watching migration over there. So let's start with the first slide. So first of all, what is the Whale Whisperer campaign? Pretty much The Well Whisperer is an online marketing campaign hosted by the Tourism Board of the Dominican Republic every year, and it's actually designed to raise awareness of the whales, the whale migration, and environmental protection in the Dominican Republic. And this year is actually quite special because 2020 marks the 10th anniversary of the campaign. So I'm very honored to represent you guys as the Well Whisperer in this special occasion. And also the Well Whisperer campaign is in collaboration with Maya's Weltreisen, the SEPSE non-profit organization based in Samaná, and also Well Samaná, a whale watching operator based in the Bay Area. So, first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience in the first week, because I stayed in the Dominican Republic for a total of 4 weeks, and the first week was a round trip together with the tourism board. So I was with my guide Eric and our driver Ramon, as you could see like in the first take on the picture. And during the first 2 days, we pretty much spent the first 2 days in Samaná area because it's so beautiful and there's so much to see. So we went zip lining, we went to Playa Rincon, what was one of the best beaches in the Dominican Republic, El Valle, Los Haitises, and so on. And then after that, it was time to head to the northern part of the Dominican Republic. So we went to cities like Puerto Plata, we went to Cabarete, all the way northwest to Cayo Arena, before we headed south again, like to the mountains, Jarabacoa. We went whitewater rafting, we did canyoning, so a whole bunch of stuff. And then we ended our road trip in Santo Domingo. That's actually the picture you can see in the middle. This is me standing on a very historical place. This is the place of Christopher Columbus. And I was just like blown away by all the culture and all the history that place had to offer, because this is the very first cathedral of the New America. And like below, next to me, you can see the statue of Christopher Columbus. And it was just, yeah, so amazing walking along those streets and imagining like in the early 1700s, people were building the first streets and like the first monuments of New America over there. And on the right-hand side, you can see a picture. No, we were not doing a stopover in Rio. This is in Puerto Plata. This is Christ the Redeemer statue. And it's located on a mountain, so you have a beautiful view across the whole area, the whole city, and you can see all the way until the sea. Okay. So I was told before I came to the Dominican Republic that it has like really beautiful beaches. And I was always telling like, yeah, but it's not only beaches. Like the Dominican Republic has so much more to offer, but we have to say something about the beaches at this point because it was just amazing. As you can see on the left-hand side, this is me just like chilling on Cayo Levantado, which we mentioned in the presentation earlier. So I think Ramon and Eric, they had a lot of fun like watching me on the first 1 and 2 days. Because I was, you know, winter can be long in Germany. So the first 1 or 2 days, I was way too excited going barefoot, like going to the beach, feeling the sand between my toes and the warm Atlantic Ocean water surrounding my feet. And it was just like such an amazing feeling. I was going way too crazy about it. And in the picture in the middle, you can see me on the beach in Cabarete during sunset. This is actually a beach for kite surfers. But if you're like not so sporty like me, you can find your own like part of the beach if you walk just a little further. The picture on the top right, that was also taken in Cabarete later after sunset. And then there's one special place to mention. The video plays right now on the on the bottom right corner. And that was the Dominican Treehouse Village in El Valle, like in the backcountry of Samaná. And this is a very special place because this is an eco-friendly hotel. Like you will not find any like fancy things over there, and it doesn't have air condition, but that's not that's all that it is about. It's about that you can feel yourself immersing in nature while like preserving the nature and your surroundings and not harming it. And that's the whole concept of this hotel. It's basically like tree houses, and I'm from a really small town in Germany, so I just love the concept. I just really like the feeling of like being in nature and just enjoying that, hearing all the different sounds, all the different birds, the different noises that come out of the jungle. It's really cool feeling. Okay, so after our road trip, it was time to come back to Samaná, where I would spend the last 3 weeks, mostly for whale watching. And the Samaná Peninsula is actually an original natural paradise on the northeastern coast of the country, with caves, islands, and palm forests. And even today, you can find unspoiled beaches, coconut plantations, and rainforests with waterfalls. Rivers rise in green mountains and flow into the Atlantic Ocean at the sandy beaches along the rocky coast. I don't exactly know who wrote this sentence, but it's like amazing. Just if I read it, I just returned from the Dominican Republic last week, so all the impressions are still super fresh. And it's funny because I remember I had an interview with Antenne Frankfurt during my time in Samaná, and they asked me to describe the Samaná Peninsula in one sentence. And I said, pretty much for me, Samaná Peninsula is the best combined in one place, like the best the Dominican Republic has to offer in one place, because we don't only have like those white, dreamy, white sand, stretchy beaches. We also have mountain ranges. We have the backcountry with many farms, like in El Valle, for example. We have Los Haitises National Park, which I will tell you about a little later. And like we have so much diversity, like as mentioned before, mangrove forest, we have waterfalls. It's just, yeah, it was just amazing. And one of the special regions to mention here is Los Haitises National Park. As Petra was saying in the beginning, this is one of the most popular tourist spots, so I couldn't miss out on that. And yeah, here comes some photos from my personal experience in Los Haitises National Park. So we were discovering most of the caves in the national park area. The indigenous people used to live here before the Spanish arrived back in the days, and you can still see like carvings and some typography from that time. So it's really like it's pretty amazing to see like how many people were living in that place back in the days, and that you can still see like signs of them living there during the time. And just apart from that, it's just stunningly beautiful. Like yeah, the nature is just amazing. And coming to stunningly beautiful, that's like the main point for the whales in Samaná, because this is actually the main reason, one of the main reasons why people travel to Samaná Bay during the month of end of January until end of March, because during those months, whales from like feels like all over the planet are traveling to Samaná Bay in order to reproduce. They're coming from Norway, they're coming from Greenland, they're coming from Iceland, also from the east coast of Canada and the east coast of the United States, where they feed in summer, and then they come back here every winter in order to reproduce for about 2 months. So the full bay is pretty much like it's full of whales everywhere. And yeah, as I said before, that the whales in Samaná Bay are creatures of habit, so to say. They come back every year, so they're being made pretty much in the bay. They're being born in the bay themselves, and then they come back with their mothers like for the next 3 or 4 years, and then they separate, and then they make their own journey like back north, and then migrate back to like give birth to their own children themselves. And they're using the waters of the Samaná Bay area because it's actually really shallow. Humpback whales are shallow water whales, especially during the season where they give birth, because they have no like natural predators in those shallow waters. Like it's easy to for a mother to protect their calves from a shark, for example, if the water is shallow, and that makes them really easy to watch, but also really easy to hunt all over the world. And I'm gonna say a couple of things about like the whale watching regulations later on as well. So most of the time I spent on a boat with Kim Bedell. This is the local partner. Kim Bedell is the founder of the whale watching operator was Samaná, and the special part about them is that they are organizing whale watching tours in perfect harmony with the whales, with the nature, and without like endangering the whales. And during my stay, I was riding along with Whale Samaná on like pretty much all of my observation trips, and you can see like a big difference. For example, Kim has a lot of experience. You can see her on the very first picture that I took on the boat. She's like on the very left-hand side, and she came to Samaná Bay area in 1983 before like anyone knew there were so many whales in the area and that they actually came there to reproduce, and they're coming every day, every year. So she just discovered pretty much most of it and most of the behavior, and then founded Samaná, her own boat whale watching company, in 1994. And she was one of the first person who was actually like making pressure, because tourism was like evolving, making pressure on proper whale watching regulations. For example, that there are only like 3 boats in the watching area and the rest is in the waiting area. The way you should approach the whales, that you should not be like driving too fast in the Bay Area, that you're not allowed to turn your engine off, because then whales are not able anymore to like locate your boat, and just to preserve accidents. So yeah, the guys over there are really doing a great job with that, and I can only recommend them. Like I can't recommend them enough. So speaking of local partners, another local partner was the nature nonprofit organization SEPSE that I mentioned earlier. And SEPSE is a center for the conservation and eco-development in Samaná Bay and its surroundings. As I mentioned before, it's non-governmental, so it's non-profit, and it's promoting the conservation and sustainable use of natural and cultural resources in the Samaná region. And as a whale whisperer, I was helping SEPSE to protect the humpback whales in Samaná. So how do we protect humpback whales? Mostly there was like the biggest part was monitoring. So we were collecting data of the whales to see like how many new mothers and calves we have, but then also what boats were around. We're trying to like, making sure those rules that were implemented in the whale watching regulations, that they are actually like that people stick to the rules pretty much. But that's not the only stuff they're doing. Like of course, like during the month of February and March, this is the most important task they have, collecting data about the whales and making sure they're all healthy and they're all set up. But then they are having so many more projects, and I could talk like 1 hour alone about what those guys are doing over there. One project that I started on my very first day at SEPSE was the coral nursery, where Marion was also giving us an insight before. So what pretty much happens, we're building those small, like tree-looking coral nurseries where we would attach really small parts of corals in order for them to grow to their full potential. It takes like 2 to 3 years. Then after those 3 years, we would like take small parts of those corals and attach them somewhere else. So this was really cool for me to see. And this is in Las Galeras. It's also in like the northern shore of Samaná Bay area. And it's not only really important to implement something for change, it's also very important to implement change in the heads of the young people. And that's why we went to schools in order to hold presentations. Because as Marion mentioned earlier, one problem that we still have in the Dominican Republic is a little bit of plastic pollution. That's not the reason, like people are just raised in a different way. They are not raised with the awareness. So polluting oceans with plastic is usually not a reason because like they want to do that or they don't care. It's more like they don't know it better. Like it's a lack of education. And with SEPSE, in the last years, we're trying to change that. We have whale whisperers in the Dominican Republic that teach about the whales, why they're important for them, why they're important for the economy, why it's worth saving the whales. Most of the people in Samaná, they know that there are whales, and then they know there are tourists coming to pay a lot of money to watch those whales, but they are not really sure like how it benefits them and why they should even try caring about the whales. And that's something we try to change when holding presentations with SEPSE in schools. And a lot of that has changed in the last years, like the whole mindset of the people is changing and we can see a lot of improvement. So speaking of whales, as you can see in this slide, I'm just speechless for one second when I'm seeing that video that I was able to take. So yeah, I'm just gonna narrow it down to my favorite experience with the whales, and that was always like a humpback whale breaching. Breaching is called like when the humpback whales are jumping out of the water in order to communicate. Can we go back to the whale slide? Yeah, in order to like communicate, and that was also like the most amazing thing to see, because it's basically 40 tons of whales launching out of the water and smashing onto their backs. And then also on the right hand side you can see a baby doing pretty much the same thing. This baby was born in Samaná Bay this year in March, and you don't have the chances in many places on the planet to watch this behavior, to watch newborn babies to do like breaching and backflips and all that stuff, like tail flips. That was just amazing for me to see. And then also I brought you guys a small drone clip about some highlights of the backcountry of Samaná and some shots we got of the whales, and we are going to enjoy that now. Okay, so that's it from my part. Looking back at especially the last drone footage clips makes me so thankful to have experienced all of that. So big thanks to the tourism board. And if you have like any more questions about like the whale watching regulations, sustainable issues and all that stuff, and more questions about SEPSE or Whale Samaná, please, we have like a short Q&A session now, and I'm happy to answer all the questions that you have. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Tim. And as Tim just said, we are also almost reached the end of this transmission. But if you have any questions left, I am happy to, or we are very happy to answer these questions. So just send them in via the chat function.
Thank you, Sabrina, for the moderation. And thank you also to all the panelists, dear Marion, dear team, for the great job, and to cooperate with us, the Ministry of Tourism, to present the marine wonders of the Dominican Republic. And thank you for being there and enjoying this presentation, and I hope has been helpful for you. So if you have any questions, Sabrina,
so far,
thank you for the moderation.
We take this as a good sign. No questions? No?
Okay.
We've been very clear then.
Yeah, hopefully. However, if there are more questions that arise at a later point in time, you all have our contact details, and you just email us and we will forward them and give of course written answers. Otherwise, the video of the presentation will also be made available, and we will give you an update about this. So then we thank you very much, everybody, to joining our presentation. And I also want to express my deepful thanks to our valued presenters today, to Tim, Marion, and Petra. Well done, and see you next time, hopefully.
Okay.
Bye. Thank
Have a
you.
good time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Post it
Okay,
there.
ich logge uns aus. Bis dahin. Tschüss.
Super. Tschüss.
Tschüss zusammen.
Super.